voice of the Blue Eagle. Kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero, sugo, todo sa kayod, punong at tulong. Ipag the Blue Eagle, galing, hiling at tigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan.
Rejoice, refresh, renew, and reflect. Join us for an hour of music that uplifts the soul. Listen to your favorite Jesuit music ministry artists. This is JMM Radio. JMM Radio. Get your day's dose of inspirational music. Tune in to JMM Radio every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Want to find out more about the famed org community of the Ateneo?
Yeah.
Wondering what projects and initiatives our student organizations are currently up to? Curious to hear the perspectives and motivations of the different people that make up the org community? Tara na't magkwentuhan! Kwentuhang MVP takes you to the vibrant and passionate organization community of the Ateneo de Manila. Tune in every Friday as we catch up with our student leaders and our organizations and find out how they're continually pushing forth with their advocacies. Kwentuhang MVP, taking the MVP to you.
Join Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle as he delivers to us the preachings of the Sunday's Gospel that's awe-inspiring, yet easy to understand and appreciate. Let us all listen to the Word of God here on The Word Exposed on Air, only on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
And there was another drive-by shooting.
The fire we
today
reported at
downtown.
Newark Fire Hall
Investigators
is still burning out.
Do you sometimes feel confused or lost in the complications and complexities of life? Do you feel drained, listless, or exhausted from the daily burdens and responsibilities? Why not seek our campus ministers on air every Tuesday from 2 to 3 in the afternoon? Listen to our counselors from the Loyola School's Campus Ministry Office as they ground our lives in our faith, in our school's spiritual tradition. Campus Ministers on Air. Be guided, be inspired, be blessed. Listen to our Campus Ministers on Air. Mamangha sa lalim at ganda ng ating kultura at diwang makabayan, sa mga salita at pahina, sa tulong ng mga guro at manunulat ng panitikang Pilipino. Halina't tuklasin ang yaman ng ating panitikan, ang pamana ng ating lahi. Kasama si Binibining Andrea Trinidad, Ginoong Jethro Tenorio at Ginoong Yol Hamendang ng Kagawaran ng Filipino ng Pamantasang Ateneo de Manila. Ito ang Sari-Sari, ang Catholic Mass Media Awards Special Citation Awardee para sa pinakamagaling na palatuntunang pang-edukasyon sa radyo. Dito sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 radyo. ikot kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpa at tama. Buhay atenista sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng pera. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiding at tigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Katipunan.
This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
What's poppin'? And welcome to Popcorn with Cholo Sediaren, your stop for all things pop, where we talk about all things pop culture from here in the Philippines to the rest of the globe. Guys, do you hear what I hear? I think we are back finally after 7 months of just not being here. Pasko na. At dahil pamasko na, may pamasko na tayo sa lahat at nagbabalik tayo here on Popcorn. But before we begin our episode, which is just kind of like a recap of everything, I guess, that is happening everywhere all at once, which, one of our favorite movies in the past few months. Let's introduce our co-hosts for the episode. It's an all-stars episode, I would say, with all of our all-star co-hosts. Let's welcome back Miss Paula Molina. Hello.
Glad to be back, as always.
Andito na po si Miss Paula. Handa na pang neutralizer. Joke lang. Andito rin si Miss Heart. Joke lang, si Miss Heart. Let's also welcome back our Mr. Twitter verified news correspondent, Mr. Summer Perns. Hey, Perns.
Hello, hello.
And from one Twitter person to another, let's welcome Mr. Twitter Master, Emil. Welcome back, Emil.
I have a job now, Cholo.
And of course, we have our OFW talaga, our correspondent way over in Chicago. Denny is here and not Dini.
Hola.
Hello. And hello to Miss My Best Jedi's are here today. Jeremiah is here. Hello.
Hello.
In our Jennifer Coolidge voice, isang hello dyan.
Hi.
And last but not the least, we have Miss Dana here with us as well.
Hello, what a comeback to the beautiful popcorn.
The young, not so
To the young,
Beautiful, question mark. But it's you.
Yeah.
It's us. And we are all back. It's actually pretty great. We haven't done this in so long. I think just a lot of things happening since pre-election campaign season, and then just life going back to the real world, eventually opening up, all of that. So ngayon, we are here on the road to our 100th episode, can you believe? And we're just parang warming things up as we return to form with our episode today. Exciting, a lot of things to talk about dahil 7 months tayong nawala. I guess let's just start with everything everywhere all at once. Kamusta kayong lahat? I guess anything happening in your lives worth noting about in this episode before we actually talk about pop culture stuff. But with everyone's reactions, I think we will just continue to our topic, which is everything, everywhere, all at once, aka first time natin sasabihin to sa podcast, Shabay! Shabay! Dahil sabay-sabay lahat ng mga bagay na nangyayari in pop culture. We have so many things that have been popping all over the Twitters, the Facebooks, Instagrams, TikToks, all your platforms. It's time to be real. All of that, may mga locket, pop it, lock it, polka dot it. Anyway, so yun na nga, sa dami ng mga nangyayari in the past few months, I think this season in particular, it's September, it's the usual balik of TV in the US season, but it feels like the same way now in I guess the general franchises, tentpole franchises in Hollywood. Dahil sabay-sabay lahat na nangyayari we have Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. We have She-Hulk in Marvel. We're gonna have Star Wars Andor happening soon. And, all of these things happening all at once. And even on the local front, we even have Drag Race Philippines, which is like an amazing, amazing thing that we will talk about maybe later on in a future episode for sure. We have Darna happening finally. We have been talking about Darna since
The start of the show.
2019, our literal first episode. We've been talking about Darna. So all of these things, sabay-sabay lahat, and like wow, it's just like I guess peak releases of everything. Any thoughts on all of these things that I have just mentioned?
How do you have the time to watch
Yes, we will continue his
all of
sentiment.
this? Diba? Like, like that's how I'm amazed na. My God, how? Like, wow.
Honestly, at
Yeah,
this
yun lang.
point,
How do you have time?
parang ang hirap. Pipili ka lang talaga ng gusto mo munang subaybayan.
That's
And-
true.
Pero kayo guys, what have you been like? Ano yung pinili nyong tutukan for now in these like major things that are ongoing?
Drag Race
Race.
Philippines.
Drag
Of
Race.
course, that is our weekly good vibes, weekly
Yeah.
tawanan, ganyan. Pero yung mga, I guess, in terms of the Hollywood ones,
She-Hulk, I guess, for me. And I'm definitely going to watch Andor. I stopped watching Game of Thrones kasi, so I'm not really like that interested in like getting back into that. And I'm waiting for my friends to let me know if the Rings of Power is good enough for me to actually dedicate my time for it. But yeah, hopefully it's as good as. Well, no, I don't think anything will be as good as the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But yeah, right, and especially because this doesn't have Peter Jackson involved. But hopefully, it's good enough that people enjoy it.
well, I have seen some tweets from Perns and Emil specifically. I guess just what are your main thoughts after the first two episodes so far that we would like to share with feelings? With feelings.
With feelings.
With feelings.
Yeah, that's like the perfect of explaining it. I still think it's too early. There's
Yeah.
only eight episodes, right?
Yeah, for the first season.
Really?
But I still think it's too early to judge it.
Yeah.
Like
Like the first two episodes of Rings of Power came out on the same day. So
yeah, exactly.
it's like one 2-hour premiere.
Mhm.
I mean I agree with Prince that it's too early to tell. I think that they're both fine, but I also feel like they're both having like a mid-off to use like internet slang. It's just like even House of the Dragon, which I like enjoyed the first episode, but then like 3 episodes in I'm thinking, can we do something else? Can we this is the show with the word dragon in its name, and I haven't learned anything about the dragons yet. I learned more about dragons from How to Train Your Dragon. So I want that. I want that.
Well, they
energy.
did say house. So
like
not the dragon. It's more about the house.
it's more about the house than the dragon.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, definitely I would agree with you on that as well in terms of House of the Dragon. I am enjoying it because I have missed Game of Thrones in its like form after what went down in the last 2 seasons. I think it's like kind of in that same sphere, but still kind of exploring something else, but still familiar. I think it falls under like a good spot in capturing parang both sentiments from the older seasons and trying something new while still all being there. I think parang ganun yung nararamdaman ko. And I'm enjoying, I mean, although syempre there's a lot of callbacks pa rin na, you know, I guess it's history or herstory and it's, you know, it repeats itself. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess is what they're going for with this one. So that's what I feel about House of the Dragon. And She-Hulk, I'm also watching, same as Paula. I'm enjoying it. I know we're all Tatiana Maslany fans here. So I mean, just for her to have this massive platform like the Marvel Cinematic Universe in itself is like already like a huge deal. But I really hope she gets to showcase more of her chops later on in the season, at least from where I've stopped watching. Yeah. Anything else that people would like to add on in our Shabay Shabay segment? And speaking of Shabay Shabay, in the K-pop world then, sabay-sabay lahat ng girl groups in August and September. You know, we had Girls' Generation coming back as a whole group in 15 for their 15th year anniversary with Forever One. We have comeback of Blackpink after so long. We have IVE with After Like. We have, who else do we have? We have Twice with Talk That Talk. So all the girl groups are out to slay. New Jeans, of course, is like killing it right now as well. And Hype Boys and Attention are all on the webs of internets. What am I saying? But yun, sabay-sabay lahat. And I guess we will have a lot more topics to be talking about in future episodes once we get there. So that is it for our first, I guess, popcorn of the week. But speaking of comebacks and the Renaissance has been released as well with Queen Bey releasing her first solo album that's not related to anything that is a franchise in like multiple years, right? So
6 years.
I mean, 6 years nga ata since the last album.
The shade on that comment.
What shade? What shade are we saying?
I live.
I wasn't intending any shade. What are we saying? Anyway, explain na lang mamaya. But yeah, I mean, she hasn't, I mean, she had Black is King kasi, di ba? And multiple projects, you know, and endorsements, everything. So, I mean, it's just her first like solo work that's really just Beyonce as Beyonce, and it did not disappoint. I mean, I think it took some time for people to kind of get in that zone because nga it's the first, you know, release in a while, but you know, now it's a culturally celebrated at least on the Twitterverse and in the gay Twitter segments. It's all unique. And New Jeans ba? Jean Jacket pala, hindi si New Jeans. Pinaghalo ko na lahat. Si Jean Jacket din, she is unique.
One thing I do want to say about Renaissance specifically is like it's interesting to see that Renaissance the album and even earlier albums like Chromatica, it's kind of already setting the tone for what pop music will sound like for the 2020s. And I feel like it's going to be very house inspired.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting, very dance pop. Like we're finally getting dance bops again, which is exciting, especially as well the pandemic's still ongoing, but people are slowly coming out. They're ready to dance. Are we gonna see a redux of the Roaring Twenties? We'll find out.
But aside from that, like hindi lang ito ang mga pasabog ni Beyonce, given that her announcement was that this is the first of 3 parts. So we're not too sure when the other 2 parts are coming, but given the impact that the first part, which is Renaissance, has already done to at least the internet culture, then I'm sure the other two will be equally as exciting and new as well. Which the rumors are na she will be taking back what black culture, parang what has been taken from black culture. Namely, the rumors are this renaissance is more about house music, right? And then the second part now is supposed to be country, and the third one is supposed to be a rock album. So
Ooh.
that's something that people are still speculating about, and we have yet to see what the visuals will really look like in the Renaissance era of Beyonce, and which has been teased with an "I'm That Girl" music video that kind of showed like an everything everywhere all at once sequence, which is, I feel like, kind of a tease into what the Renaissance visual film will look like. Given that her last two albums, Beyonce and Lemonade, had full length, even Black is King had full length visuals supporting the music. So I don't think magpapatalo siya with this one also. So yeah, that's Renaissance for you. And actually, there's gonna be a Renaissance Ball next week, September 15, happening. This is by Drag Playhouse, featuring Eva Queen, Marina Summers, Prince, and Ovi, and a lot more surprises in the Renaissance Ball. I'm sure it's gonna be a literal ball for everyone. That's happening next week, September 15. Go check out Drag Playhouse PH for more details on that event. And next, ito na, papunta na tayo sa exciting part. First time din natin sinabi yun dito, so nakaka-excite din siya. Although, wala na yung trend na yun. But, papunta na tayo to the more exciting parts of this episode, which I know the whole Twitter is talking about right now. We have two kind of like dramatic pop culture moments happening all over the Twitterverse. Let's start with Funny Girl, which is a Broadway musical, the first revival, I think, of the classic Funny Girl. It started off with Beanie Feldstein in the role late last year, and due to some behind the scenes drama, Beanie had to leave early, and now it's Leah Michelle, who can possibly read or not. We do not know what the truth is. It's Leah Michelle who has taken over the role, which has been, people have been saying since 2010, literally 12 years ago, since she did Don't Rain on My Parade in Glee season 1, na, Leah Michelle has to be Fanny Bryce on Broadway one day. Now we are here. She just debuted on the Broadway stage after, I think, how many years? 15 years yata since she last set her feet on a Broadway stage for a full show, based on what I've read. So, yeah, stuff about Funny Girl. I think Jeremiah would have stuff to say about.
I'd go as far as saying that if Leah Michelle were to have a signature song, it would be Don't Rain on My Parade. So, and like, let's cut all the niceness and just get to it. Leah Michelle is a controversial figure. Like, and her casting as Fanny Bryce was very controversial as well. But, like, what's that quote from Glee, Paula? Like, that girl maybe...
She's
difficult,
problematic, but she can sure sing. Something like that.
She can sure sing.
She is a lot, but she sure can sing. Yeah.
Like, if you hire Leah Michelle to deliver Fanny Bryce, she will deliver. And based on what we saw on Twitter earlier this morning, after her initial
performance,
her debut as Fanny Bryce, the reception has been pretty great.
She can sing.
Like,
that was never a question.
And then, parang, yeah, she really delivered. And I know that the producers, or rather the orchestra, they were able to restore the arrangements of the songs back to the original Barbara arrangements so that since they now have Fanny who could belt.
Yeah.
So,
I know Paula has a lot of feelings about this. Ever since we have started talking about Funny Girl even before this episode, Paula.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, well, Fanny Bryce wasn't known as being a singer, right? It's we're not going. I don't think the musical ever wanted it to be historically accurate. The movie and the original play was written by, I think, the son-in-law of Fanny Bryce, and there's a lot of things that they had to change about her actual life and her husband because it was just very much a mess. So in my mind, and I think in the minds of most of the people who watch the show, you don't need for Fanny to be historically accurate, right? And what we know is that it's a Fanny Bryce who can sing because that's what we've seen with Babs and just with every performance that we've heard of the songs from Funny Girl. It has to be a belter. Otherwise, it's not the same. And I know that Beanie Feldstein is a very great actress. Like I've appreciated a lot of her performances, but she cannot sing. At least not for Broadway, not for Fanny Bryce.
And not
So
this
she's a good singer in a way na if like you go out with your office mates to karaoke.
She's a karaoke
And-
good singer.
And then I don't know, like Karen from accounting takes the mic and then
So a drag queen.
Not Karen from
Karen
accounting.
from HR. Karen from HR.
He's right.
yeah, and then like I don't know, she sings a Whitney Houston song and you're like, wow, you can sing. That's how good Beanie Feldstein is.
Yeah.
Like she can carry a note, but it's not especially for Broadway fans. I understand the disappointment.
And I think not just because it's Broadway, but because these were songs made for Babs. It's
Mm,
not like
good
songs
point.
that even a lot of people in Broadway can pull off. It really has to be of a certain like type of singer to be able to have this. So maybe if it was another type of Broadway show, she could do well. But unfortunately, it was for me at the very least, and I know for a lot of people who are big fans of the original, it just wasn't.
Like
And she was
something more-
beside one of the best phantoms we've ever had, right? Like that's just
Mm,
the disparity.
That was
between those
cruel.
two, right?
That was
It was
cruel.
just cruel for me.
I think I read a whole piece about this from a New York publication na parang it was kind of set up to fail in a sense, unfortunately, na parang, all
Yeah, she
parang,
didn't receive training. She
Yeah.
didn't- yeah.
which is unfortunate for her coming off of parang a lot of praises nga for multiple performances on TV and
Yeah.
movies, right? And that's undeniable, her star power as well. But this role nga parang it's Fanny Bryce, it's so iconic, it's Barbara. What else do you expect? And parang
Honestly, like the first time I heard na Beanie Feldstein to be cast as Fanny Bryce for Funny Girl, my immediate thought was she can sing too. And I feel like that's everyone, like most people were like, really? She can sing? Because like to be cast as Fanny Bryce, that's a pretty big deal for Broadway. It's like a big declaration, oh, this girl's got pipes.
and for such a big production as a revival with the name Funny Girl,
How
with
much hype
things
on the
involved.
revival.
Yeah, exactly. And parang ano rin parang the very fact that they don't even have promo videos of her singing meant that the production already knew from the onset that this wasn't really going to the place where it wants to go. Parang I guess it kind of became previews for the Leah Michelle show that was to come later on, right? And we are here nga, and I guess we wish the
Yeah.
best for the production, and at least based on the first night, wala pa yatang critics who watched the first show of Leah. So that's something we will watch out for. But I would 12 or 10 watch Leah Michelle on Broadway.
I did
It's funny,
see
yeah.
I did see a tweet where, and there's a voice recording where Leah as Annie in the play says the line, "I don't read many books." and the theater goes wild and laughs.
Internet culture, it's crazy.
Internet culture has corrupted us all.
It really has. But it's really fun. All the way Twitter just takes a life on its own with the Leah Michelle selfie that became a meme of its own, aside from the reading and non-reading. Because the reading, if you haven't seen that crazy conspiracy theory about Leah Michelle not being able to read, I was laughing so hard the first time I watched that video slash podcast about it. I think you can just Google that and you will be able to see that video. But that's where it stemmed from. And she hasn't really been able to to beat any allegations at this
To
point.
read any other
At this point, all Leah Michelle has to do
huge.
is she just has to show up for Jimmy Kimmel's celebrities read meme tweets. All the meme tweets.
Or
And like,
maybe
can we take a moment to discuss her reaction to that rumor, if you could call it that? In a profile for the New York Times, Leah said that if she were a man, she wouldn't have rumors like that thrown at her. Which I get her point, but also at the same time, I think the humor of the rumor is just how ridiculous it is.
Yeah,
Like that's the point.
Yeah.
It's such a stupid rumor. That's why it's funny.
it just parang it's been years. I don't even know what year I started hearing about this, and it only just got fueled back on parang because of this Funny Girl revival and Leah Michelle's part in it. But we wish her the best, and we wish her success in reading the reviews for this show. I think she should partake in a RuPaul's reading challenge because reading is what?
At this point, like it would be great for her brand if she leans into it.
I think it will. But I guess that is just one part of the internet's crazy speculations this week, because it's kind of the meat of what we want to discuss, which is don't worry, darling. Sabi nga ng Swedish house mafia, don't you worry, child. Joke lang.
We're worrying. It's time to worry.
Oh God.
You're worrying, darling.
Yeah, I mean, where do we begin? I think Jer has an outline prepared for us to dissect and trace the sources of this whole drama, which kind of I think it reached its peak, or it was really like, the internet was really all in it during the Venice Film Festival premiere.
Where do we even begin? I guess we can begin with the original casting.
Yeah.
For this movie, where Olivia Wilde cast Florence Pugh as the wife in the film, the lead role, and she also cast Shia LaBeouf to play the husband. But as we may or may not know, Shia LaBeouf is being sued currently by his ex-FKA twigs for alleged domestic, physical, and sexual abuse. So rumors have it that Florence went to Olivia and said that she was creeped out to work with Shia. And in a piece for, what is the publication? For a piece for the New York Post or Variety. I think.
Variety.
Yeah, for Variety. Olivia tells the interviewer that she fired Shia LaBeouf to keep Florence safe. But plot twist. Shia LaBeouf responds to Variety with receipts that he was not fired, but he actually quit, and Olivia begged him to stay. So, any comments on this, you guys? It was messy. And
Not
I
a fan
feel
of
like
Shia, but like props to him for having receipts.
Yeah,
true.
the evidence is pretty damning. As
Yeah.
someone who was excited for what Olivia Wilde was going to do next, and I remain excited to see Don't Worry Darling, but for different reasons now. On the evidence is very damning.
Yeah.
And I
As
feel
we
like
speak of evidence, I will play a clip of the iconic video that Olivia shared or sent to Shaya with the now iconic name Miss Flo.
Ooh.
I will play that video. I will play that clip for us to listen to in
Shaya. I just went riding my horse, very sweaty, but I wanted to reach out because I feel like I'm not ready to give up on this yet, and I too am heartbroken, and I want to figure this out. And you know, I think this might be a bit of a wake-up call for Miss Flo, and I want to know if you're open to giving this a shot with me, with us. If she really commits, if she really puts her mind and heart into it at this point, and if you guys can make peace, and I respect your point of view, I respect hers, but if you guys can do it, what do you think? Is there hope? Is there hope? Will you let me know? Okay, bye.
I will say this. Out of all the sins you can commit in Hollywood, one of the worst things you can do is to be caught lying. Like for an industry based on image, once you reveal your image to be a fraud, hard to bounce back.
And yun na nga eh, you have receipts to prove it. If it were a phone call, it could have been hearsay, but to have an actual video right there, iconic. If Miss Flo can commit, and Miss Flo did commit to all of this drama seen yesterday. She did not appear in the press conference, and I don't think she committed to any press interviews regarding this movie, appearing alongside Olivia and Harry, which in itself is a whole nother situation later on. And I think even during that press interview in the festival, parang Olivia yata was asked of her whereabouts, about Florence's whereabouts, and then Florence showed up with that purple fashion outfit,
Aperol spritz.
yes,
Her Aperol spritz.
and just living the life. And then we have Chris Pine and Gemma Chan just acting as like divorced parents trying to parang just control their children. So, and yeah, I mean, I guess let's start with Miss Flo. I know Paula has feelings about Miss Flo.
Why do you keep calling me out like this?
Read the recitation.
I'm not her biggest fan, okay? Like, I don't understand the hype. Yeah, no, I don't. She's a great actress, but she acts like most white women. And I'm just like, okay. Anyways, that's beside the point. But like, I've been wondering about this drama for quite some time because I know as an actress, she's always been very supportive of the films that she does. She's very like much of a hype queen in the same way. Yeah. So, and she was very silent about Don't Worry Darling, and yun palang we were worrying darling ever since. And it's just been really interesting how different she's treated this film versus most of the other films that she's done. And I guess ang focus ko actually si Olivia Wilde dito as a Jason Sudeikis fan, standing by him from the very beginning. Deserve like all this drama that she's it's deserve for doing like the worst sin in my head, which is to cheat on Jason Sudeikis. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? So I'm excited because it seems like the drama in this film and the drama surrounding this film is better than the actual film itself. And I'm so happy for that. Congratulations.
And it's good publicity, right?
And good luck to Warner Brothers for putting like 50% of their money this year on this film. It's hilarious.
And like, diba, tama ba? If I'm not mistaken, it's part of the reason why Miss Flo is also kind of like not in the mood because of that whole situation with Jason and
Yeah, because she's
Olivia.
friends with him. Yeah, allegedly. They're
And
friends.
she did appear in Ted Lasso, tama ba? As in a
Oh, she
cameo
did?
role.
I think
I
she
saw
had
a photo.
she had a
Did
deleted
she?
scene. She had
Yeah.
a deleted scene.
Didn't make it into the final. Ano,
That's still, that's good.
Mm.
So, I mean, that's a big issue nga surrounding that as well. So, yun. That's part one.
there-
pa lang. Go, Jer.
And I will say that the publicist of Florence Pugh is doing a hell of an amazing job because she just looks so unbothered in Venice right now. She's just living her best life. She has her Aperol spritz in hand, and she had a really cute Instagram post this morning about her bringing her grandmother to the Venice Film Festival.
Yeah.
Festival, but festival, and plus on the red carpet, her co-stars Chris Pine, Nick Kroll, Gemma, they all seem to really love her. Like all hugs and like they were so warm with each other. And Florence was just such a badass. There was a 4-minute standing ovation in the Venice for the film's premiere, and she just walked out. And as per protocol, once the lead walks out, they all have to walk out. Boss move.
I'm just so happy. I just want to put it out there. Like the memes have been incredible. Like the coverage is so fun. I don't follow like Hollywood gossip at all, but this has been it's been so fun like logging onto Twitter and just like the Chris Pine reaction faces. The edits of like from Spitgate, which evolved into
I have never rewatched like a video
Yeah.
of Harry
Like
Styles.
so many times.
I
Trying
feel
to
like
figure it out like
Exactly.
from all angles. You know?
I feel like an FBI, like a CSI like investigator, and I'm really like in my head I'm thinking enhance. Like I need to know like exactly what's going on.
Spitgate, or to our listeners who aren't familiar, it is the allegation
Supposed
that
spit.
Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine when he was about to take his seat for the film premiere. And that is a rumor as baseless and as ridiculous as Leah Michelle not being able to read.
I don't think so. I think this one has more basis though because
May
the
video
video really looked like he spat on Chris Pine, and though like the timing of Chris Pine looking down, stopping,
That is true.
clapping, this definitely has more basis than the other rumor.
I am ashamed to admit that I did search up on YouTube Harry Styles, Chris Pine, slow-mo, Venice Film Festival, Spitgate, 180p, 4K. And I saw this slow motion video. There was no spit to be found. You saw him pursing his lips like, But the timing was perfect.
And I think
it
Chris
just goes
Pine's PR rep actually responded
yeah,
to
I
saying
confirm
that.
that.
They both released like statements that nothing happened.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The
Regardless,
fact
Harry
that they have
Styles.
to release
Regardless.
statements about spitting.
Right.
Right?
It's just crazy.
And like regardless of this whole spitting thing, like Harry Styles still has that clip of him saying the best part about this movie is that
Oh.
it feels like a movie.
Yeah, that's even worse. I mean,
That is worse. Yes. And you're next to a Berkeley like graduate. And no.
Actually, that's the perfect segue to, I think, part 2 of the drama, which is Harry Styles himself, a man who I still do respect him a lot and like him a lot as a musician, but as an actor, that was tough. The film PR, they released a scene of Florence and Harry where Harry's accent travels all over the world. And the reaction has not been kind.
what movies was he in before this? Because I can only think of Dunkirk, and he wasn't really.
He was in like the Eternals post credits.
Eternals, that's
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
But
I feel like
he's doing My Policeman right now, but that's British, so he's at home there.
I think this is his first like acting role.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's coming up in like a week or two. We will find out. But
It will feel like a movie, I think.
I'm not
Sure hope
I
it
don't
does
know.
look like a movie.
Imagine if it doesn't. Imagine if it doesn't feel like a movie, though.
Well,
I mean,
I will say the thing about that is Booksmart, which was Olivia Wilde's last movie, actually does not feel like a movie, which is like I love it. But so one could argue it's a string of 10 music videos stitched together with loose fabric and Caitlin Deaver's great performance. So actually, we have yet to see if Olivia Wilde can make a movie that feels like a movie. So we will find out in 2 weeks.
Maybe
But
that's what he meant
very
by it feels like a movie. Just kidding.
I'm very excited to see this movie and how it feels like a movie versus things that do not.
Actually, like now that I think about it, it's kind of shocking that he said that this is the movie that made him realize that it feels like a movie when he was in Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk, which is literally like IMAX war spectacle. It's like, and that didn't feel like a movie to you? Interesting, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and yun na nga, parang I guess after being so adored for so long since the 1D days, you know, it's that kind of cycle of Hollywood also where you get, you know, that spotlight where maninitpick na and makikita yung mga ganitong holes in like what you're trying to do at the moment. And it's Harry's after Harry's House, which was also received pretty well earlier this year, and with all of this, parang, you know, I guess it's that phase in Harry's career where people are like, okay, sabi ni Mama Pao.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't think you're a star if you don't go through backlash at any point.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
The reason Saoirse Ronan is not a star is because she does nothing wrong. She's the best actress of her generation, but she's not a star. And let's keep it that way.
Yeah, look at Carly Rae Jepsen. You know, no drama at
true.
all.
Right.
Can't do anything wrong.
Danny, that's a really good point. I mean, like Meryl Streep did Ricky and the Flash. That's why she's the star.
Yeah. You have to make a bad movie a bad era. You have to have people be all like, are we sure about this? Katharine Hepburn was box office poison. This is how stars are born, and we'll see if like Harry Styles survives the crucible.
Everyone hated Anne Hathaway in 2012.
I still don't understand why.
I think
That was
because people hate women.
Society sucks.
The
That's
same thing
why.
with Jennifer Lawrence. Like, what did she do?
Exactly. Yun na nga, I think this is a discussion nga I had with Paula previously na parang the adoration that people are giving Florence Pugh at the moment is that kind of phase na, oh my God, we loved Anne Hathaway, we loved Jennifer Lawrence. Now we love Florence Pugh, and I'm pretty sure with that pattern, Florence Pugh will also kind of get into some phase na people will kind of just lash out at her for no good reason. So hopefully, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's culture talaga in Hollywood celebrity land also na people just randomly, you know, for no good reason, especially on women.
Yes, especially on women.
Mm-hmm.
I think nawala si Jer. So we will continue on. If anyone has any last things to say before we head on to the last part of our show.
Ano lang,
Chris Pine
sobrang
looks hot.
astral projecting talaga. Chris Pine astral projecting.
So funny.
Living for
Chris
it.
Pine looks
Living
So
for it.
funny.
So living for it. Oh god.
So good.
Oh,
So many
that's
memes
that-
born in 2 days.
That's that bad.
I just want to add that it's been a minute since we've had like a real organic Hollywood feud. Like this feels real and concrete, and like I'm not saying like let's do this again, but I don't know.
No,
I'll complain every now and again.
Why not?
Burn the director
Please.
feud, like for real reasons. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, and it's like generally harmless, like as far as Hollywood controversies go. That's why I'm so into it. It's just like
Right.
ridiculous. Of course, he didn't spit on him, but I want to believe it because it makes so much sense in my heart. So yes,
In my heart, it's true. I don't care about the facts.
of course.
This is better than the Leo drama that's been happening. So, you know, it's great.
Through distraction lang to distraction.
Yeah.
The drama was kind of depressing.
It was terrible.
Terrible, but then like you have something this dare I call it campy at the level of
Yes.
ridiculousness of it all. It was delicious and people are eating it up.
And one of the memes na is like Ryan Murphy is already writing the script for feud Olivia Wilde versus Florence Pugh. And who Sarah Paulson will be playing in that season.
Marie Darling is the what ever happened to Baby Jane of our generation.
Oh my god. That is not the comparison I was expecting from this drama.
I can't remember a movie specifically that had this much drama behind the scenes of it all. Like the closest I could think of is Knocked Up with Katherine Heigl and John.
Ang pinaka naaalala ko na at least locally is Kim Chu versus Maha Salvador in Ina Kapatid Anak na magkaaway na sila at that point.
Yes!
That was really like camp and
good.
iconic. That was really good. And we haven't had that in the Philippines, I would say, na rivalry in a while either. Last na yung Kim and Maha being best friends and then later on just not, And I guess that wraps up our random chikahan for today. The Mariteses are out. The Marites Network is out tonight. And that leads us to our last segment of the show, unfortunately, which is our pop stop. I know we have so many things per person to recommend. So siguro let's just say one per person. Who wants to begin?
I can go first because I have to jump in a bit. So I would love to recommend Jeanette McCurdy's book. I'm glad my mom's dead. It's what sparked reading back in my life. So I'm very grateful to her for that. But at the same time, I'm also very grateful for her for being so vulnerable and exposing this story. And not a lot of people understand what she's gone through because not a lot of people have that type of relationship with their parents. So I'm just happy that she has this platform and to let people know that maybe you should be a little bit more understanding of some people because their backgrounds might not be the same as yours. And they're going through a tough time. And because of her as well, a lot of other Nickelodeon stars have spoken up about a lot of the abuse that they've experienced on set and just making me realize how terrible it is to be a child star, especially in the United States. So hopefully there's a lot to be done about that and Dan Schneider gets, what he deserves, which is the worst. So that's it for me, Jeanette McCurdy. And of course, Formula One. We just gotta plug that in. Right.
Next.
I can go. Next. I just want to shout out one of my favorite films of 2022, which I'm worried is going to get buried under because it's not the kind of film that gets hype. But this great Finnish from Finland coming of age comedy called Girl Picture. It's basically think Booksmart, except someone takes out the bad parts, leaves the good parts, and extends the movie to the entire good parts. So yeah, it's it's such a Booksmart vibe that they both use "Slip Away" by Perfume Genius in the soundtrack. Just I was just full on I had a chemical reaction to the movie when I was watching it. Just I don't know. I was when one of those movies you're just smiling the whole time because you're watching these characters discover themselves and their identities and relating with each other in that way. It's great. It's Finnish Booksmart but better Booksmart is the summary. And also a quick shout out to another movie that's related to teen girls. Bodies. Very fun. Very fun.
Can't wait.
Very fun movie. Great Charlie XCX song. Good times all around.
Related to films that I'm worried will get buried. Well, this is no shot. But recently there was a screening at UP for Leonor Will Never Die. And they're selling merch and shirts and tote bags and stuff. Hopefully this is a film that it's currently playing at the Toronto International Film Festival. They won at Sundance earlier this year. But as we know with a lot of Filipino films, sometimes that isn't enough to like spark interest still in like the general public, at least here in the Philippines. And hopefully it's something that can cross that divide, because it is very much influenced by like, you know, Filipino action movies that came out from like the 70s to the 90s, the ones that we see as reruns on TV or on in buses or at, you know, public transportation terminals and stuff. It's very funny. It's very Filipino. So yeah, I just hope more people get to see it. And if, you know, our Film Academy of the Philippines knows what they're doing, they will actually try to send something to the Oscars this year, which they didn't even try to do last year. So yeah.
And they will have a theatrical run, like for that movie, right? I heard.
Yes.
So I heard.
Yes, though. I can confirm there is a plan.
Yes. Very
Our
fun.
official
This month.
correspondent can confirm. And I'm really excited for that as well. I mean, we've been hearing about it even before Cinemalaya. And I have one thing to say. At hindi mo. Joke lang.
Huwag ka ganyan.
Wag ganyan. Hindi pa tayo over it. But I
hope
love
I get to see it. I really do. I hope I get to see it.
I think you should fly back here. Just kidding.
I think he has more of a chance to see it there at this point.
Yeah.
Come through Chicago International Film
There.
Festival. Come through.
Popcorn. Okay, I'm currently watching, and it's not fairly new, but it did get nominated for a lot of Emmys. I'm watching Severance by Ben Stiller for Apple TV, and so far it's really, what's the word, captivating. Like, I'm glued on to my seat and I want to watch. I would sit through the whole thing if I had the time, but I feel like currently the commentary that they make on work-life balance and how much of ourselves do we give to work, it's not the usual work-life balance commentary. It's on another level. It's one of those shows that really make you think, and Adam Scott is really good in it. So watch it, you guys, especially if you like weird dystopian sci-fi thrillers.
All right, Dana.
So two things. Super old. Well, not old, not a few years ago. But my family and I are about to finish Schitt's Creek finally.
Oh my gosh.
It's been the pandemic watch of this past month. So we've been really enjoying it. And yeah, as in, it's rare to find a show that gets the family together while also making me laugh, because I love David and all of the characters. So yeah, that's one. If you haven't seen it, like me, I've been under a rock probably for the past few years. I have not seen it. Please do. Another thing that surprisingly I can surprisingly watch with my family now is Drag Race PH. So I know we'll talk about it in depth in a future episode, but I'm just really glad we get this run for ourselves, for the country. I've been a big Drag Race fan ever since. Like Cholo and Jer know this. We're the best Jedi's because we bonded over this over the pandemic. So I'm glad that we finally get our own run. So do watch on the official sites, please. It's on HBO Go, Discovery, and Wow Present. So you have no choice but to watch officially. So we get a season 2. So yeah, that's my second reco.
I second the second and first recos. Personally, I've been only catching up then with Schitt's Creek recently, and I've also been loving it so much. Alexis. How do you say Alexis?
Alexis.
Or Alexis.
There!
You have to do the hands. You have to do the hands also.
Oh, like Alexis.
Ew.
Like, ew. I can't do it.
I feel like Jeremiah is just trying to impersonate one iconic blonde lady, blonde gay icon at the time.
Yes, that's correct. And yun na nga, Drag Race Philippines, just really, such a, every week we look forward to, like, every Wednesday for the main show, every Friday for Untucked, because it's just really good vibes. And pure Filipino dog show culture at its finest. Even if you're not a fan of drag, it's something I'm sure every Pinoy. Burns, si Burns only joined us for one Drag Race episode previously, and it was a lip sync Lollapalooza. But now Burns is watching this season, invested in this season, and that's pretty much representation of like what this show is and can be to many people. I've heard of so many people who aren't into Drag Race who have started watching because of Drag Race Philippines, and I'm really happy about that because ang saya lang talaga, as in grabe yung good vibes and the memes that have been born from this just 5 episodes of Drag Race Philippines. The shoes, and the
One of the
chanaks.
Entertaining.
And the shots and the manoks.
And it's just like so many things. And for sure, we will be having an episode, maybe even more than one episode about Drag Race Philippines coming your way really, really soon. So abangan. So I guess since Drag Race Philippines has been recommended, my recommendation also is another Pinoy thing that is happening that we mentioned earlier, which is Darna. I have been enjoying Darna. Jane De Leon is amazing for me. A great choice in casting Darna. And I think medyo worth the wait talaga after maybe like 3 years of development hell, or even more of, I think as early as 2016 they have been developing with Eric Mati heading it, and then naging Gerald Tarog, then ngayon dito na tayo sa TV series. So it's really good stuff also. My sister brought this up, and it's very reminiscent of CW Supergirl, but make it Darna. And it's also spurring out a lot of memes such as alam mo ba ding? So iconic in its own right, and just amazing. Even Isa Calzado, who played Darna for an episode, was just amazing. And proud to be Pinoy talaga itong dalawang bagay na to, from Drag Race to Darna. And that pretty much wraps up our first episode back. Merry Christmas to everyone, dahil September na, lumabas na si Jose Marichan, lalabas na si Mariah Carey, at sabi ni Ariel Rivera, sana ngayong Pasko ay maalala nyo rin siya. So with that is the end of our episode. Of course, you can go stream Popcorn here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9. Thanks to the Radyo Katipunan fam. And happy 4th anniversary, Radyo Katipunan. It's been a crazy ride with all of you. And of course, we are also streaming here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you stream your podcasts. And that is our show for the day. Can I get an eme up in here? Party. See you next time. Bye.
This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.